Welcome to the talk show Promise Bangladesh, sponsored by Crown Cement. Viewers, today we have two guests. One is star politician Mr. Sheikh Shahidul Islam, other being a leading intellectual in Bangladesh and a historian, Dr. Mesbah Kamal, Professor of History, Dhaka University. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you very much.
Well, today we'll discuss about the post-election scenario in Bangladesh and the related issues. Mr. Sheikh Shahid, everybody knows you as a politician proper. Whatever the party's strength doesn't matter. You are what you are. From the standpoint of your own understanding, how do you view the post-election scenario in Bangladesh?
Thank you very much for inviting me to discuss this contemporary issue. I'm glad that the post-election scenario, as we thought earlier, will be a violent one or will be something which will cause disturbance in public life. But incidentally, it is calmer than I thought. Awami League has won a landslide, and the second most biggest group who have won the election is 66 independent candidates, 62 independent candidates. And the main opposition, the Jatiya party, Japa, they got only 11 seats, and 4 parties, they got 1 each. So far, the post-election activities are concerned, Awami League was quick to install their MPs, install their oath of office, and then they formed the cabinet, and the new cabinet is the smallest since 1991 in the size. In the new cabinet, they have tried to mix the experience of old and the new. The highest age of a minister is 83, and the lowest age is 45. So they have tried to combine the old experience with the new initiatives and drives. What we think in the opposition camp, they are a bit frustrated, and they are not capable enough to challenge the election or the formation of the government or the journey of the new government. Incidentally, almost all the neighboring state of Bangladesh and also the Russia, they have already congratulated, and the ambassadors and high commissioners of almost all the countries, they have attended and congratulated the new government. And very recently they have started meeting the ministers of the new government and start working with them. So I think it has been a moral victory for Awami League that they have been able to complete the election. But in an election or a new government, the legal force and the moral force are not the only force. There are some other ethical component also in all elections, or in victory or in defeat also. But I foresee that if the government cannot function well, they will not be able to satisfy people, and they will not be able to comply with their election promises.
Thank you very much. Dr. Mesbah Kamal, you are possessed of a very strong band of research. And what is your study? As Sheikh Shahidul says, the government is facing problems from the financial point of view. What is your overall analysis?
Thank you very much for inviting me in this program. I largely agree with what our veteran politician Sheikh Shahidul Islam has been saying. Well, I think that the landslide victory of Awami League has actually left Bangladesh without any effective opposition. And this is not totally because Awami League did not want any opposition or did not give any space for the opposition. Rather, it is the fault of the opposition major parties who have actually failed to stand up the call of the time. BNP, as we all know, have actually boycotted the election. Had BNP not done that, then definitely, taking into account the anti-incumbency feeling of the people, that particular party would gain a number of seats. My hunch is it would be between 80 to 100, could be more. But BNP opted not to go to election, and by that perhaps they were implementing the external agenda, whereas they should have their own agenda. They were more keen and dependent, keen on serving external agendas or agendas of the external forces, rather creating or having their own agenda and pursuing this, and depend on the people of the country for a verdict on their favor. And another thing is this, they have been out of power for quite some time now. So they couldn't expect logically to come to power at one go. They should have, competed in this election and could have gained the important position of opposition political party. And that would give them some ground to speak inside the parliament and also agitate outside the parliament, which they have lost the opportunity. But also, the other political parties, particularly say the coalition partners of Awami League, the 14-party alliance, have also largely been eroded. Why is that? I think that the particularly the left-leaning political parties, they at one stage had some pockets, support pockets in various parts of the country, and from where they could return. But this time they have almost eroded. I think that they also made themselves too much dependent on Awami League. So much so that in some places I have heard that when they did not get the symbol boat for their candidate, and their workers became sad, so sad that how could they fight without the boat symbol. But the same party had in the past actually fought election, and there are cases where they fought with their own symbol and their own in some seats. So, I mean, when you want to go to the opposition with the blessings of the Prime Minister, with the kind permission of the Prime Minister, you are no opposition. You are no opposition. So this parliament virtually doesn't have any opposition. Even Jatiya party, which has won 11 seats, they also own only in those seats where they received the boat symbol. None of them perhaps have won the election with their own symbol.
No, they have they have fought with their own symbol. But Awami League removed their candidates.
Right. So thank you. Thanks for the correction. I mean, right, okay. They have with own symbol like Langol, plow. Yeah. But all those seats, Awami League withdrew their candidate. So not that they own in any seat where they had a straight away, competition. So this is also another kind of blessings. So this puts us in a difficult position. You know, you need a effective opposition in the country, in the parliament, in order to, safeguard democracy and to actually help the government to run the country properly and to put forward, come up with alternative policy options. Who is there to come up with alternative policy options now in the parliament? I don't see anyone. So here I suppose that the civil society will have to play an important role in Bangladesh to effectively serve as the opposition, take up the role of the opposition in the country.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sheikh Shahid, as a politician, you understand very well that with this sort of parliament at this very moment where there is no opposition, truly speaking, from the point of view of parliament history, this is the first time in the history of Bangladesh it happened. How do you find the solution here?
First of all, I want to discuss something about the composition of the parliament. Profession-wise or character-wise, this parliament is largely dominated by business people, 199 of them among these 300. 199 businessmen, they have been elected MP.
Two-thirds.
Almost two-thirds. These, I think, is an ominous sign for politicians as well as for people, because these people, they think election is an investment and they have invested large amount of money, and now they will try to recover 10, 15 times of that invested amount. So the people are not safe in those constituencies where there is business people. I think they will create a problem in public service because they will be trying to grab the business to get back the money they have lost in these elections. This is a very bad sign about the composition. Second is, only 26 politicians were elected in this parliament, whereas in 1973 elections, there are only 17% business people and the rest was politicians. This is a very bad sign for the politicians also, that only 27 of them are there. And they are in fact a microscopic minority over there. So how the parliament should be the main place of doing politics in a civilized society. They don't go to street. In a civilized society, they do the main politics inside the parliament. And here their number is only 26 out of 300. Thirdly, in this parliament, as Mr. Mesbah Kamal, Dr. Mesbah Kamal has said, she has rightly pointed out that this parliament without an effective opposition cannot function properly well, because where is the accountability? Where is the accountability? Parliament is a place where accountability matters most. Here, the government people, they have no accountability to anyone, because the entire parliament belongs to the government people.
I will come to you again. Mr. Sheikh Shahidul, I will start from you again. Well, viewers, we are going for a short break and please keep watching. Well, we are back to the talk show Promising Bangladesh, sponsored by Crown Cement, and we are having talks with two very important personalities in Bangladesh, one Mr. Sheikh Shahidul, other being Dr. Mesbah Kamal. Mr. Sheikh Shahidul, you are talking about a very serious affair. Please go on.
Yes. Parliament is a place where ministers and other government functionaries are made and they are accountable. But here, since the entire member except a very few maybe in a single digit, they are from the government party. So the accountability of the government, it is in a serious position that I don't think they will have to account for their action to anyone. Thirdly, in the parliament, which is coming, probably will be functional from next month, early next month, February. In this parliament, if you see the composition of the parliament in this way, that it is solely a government-owned, government party-dominated parliament, maybe it is like that. But the problem with the government is they have formed a cabinet. The cabinet which has a average age of the person who is the most aged one among the cabinet members. His age is 83. The challenges we are facing, mostly it will be on the economic front. And this 83 years old person, he is now the finance minister. And the planning minister is also 82 years of age. So I think it will be very difficult to meet the challenges our economy will be facing in near future. Next one is what I think one of the main challenges this government will be facing, the foreign policy. And we have trust in our new foreign minister, but I am not aware of his diplomatic background or his diplomatic career or his educational background in diplomatic side. In this complex world, everywhere professionalism is coming up. And so he is a professional politician, there is no doubt about it. But how he will deal the professional diplomats, there I want to pose a question.
Thank you very much. Dr. Mesbah Kamal.
Yeah.
Mr. Sheikh Shahid has entered into a very wonderful discussion because he says about the composition of the government, especially the Minister of Finance, Minister of Planning, Minister of Commerce, very important indeed, and Minister of Foreign Affairs. If the government wants to make a breakthrough in the coming days, and do you think persons on the boat are up to the desire?
Well, our veteran politician Sheikh Shahidul Islam bhai, he knows how the government runs, and he knows what kind of expertise is required to run the government. So he has raised very valid questions. I would just like to say that the current foreign minister, in a previous term, he served as the state minister for foreign affairs. Yeah, yes, he did.
For a few days.
He was in the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting.
No, he was with Dipu Boni for a few days. Then he moved to
in 1996 cabinet.
Yeah.
He was there for some time. So he is not totally new. But when he was a state minister for foreign affairs, I don't remember anything important that he achieved. Yeah, particularly Shahriar in the last, foreign ministry as a state minister was much more vocal and much more diplomatic, I should say. Definitely much more diplomatic than the foreign minister himself, or last foreign minister. So, we wish him best, the current foreign minister.
Surely.
Of course, we wish him best because the country is facing a lot of challenges, particularly because of our, geopolitical situation. But a professional would would be expected to do perhaps better. That is one thing. And secondly, of course, you correctly pointed out that the government, the principal promise that they have come up just after the election, or also in the election manifesto, was to bring down the prices of essential commodities, which has gone beyond the ability of the common people. So we expected to have an efficient and also capable and experienced commerce minister. But that hasn't happened. Not only that it did not happen, also it has been given to as he was saying, a very new person with no experience, and also not a full minister has been entrusted with the responsibility. So these are posing important questions. In fact, the challenge is in the economic front. In the previous session, you asked me about the financial situation of the country. Particularly, in the pre-election days, this concern was raised, and this concern is still very much there, particularly in the context of the position of Western powers. But I think that the landslide win of Awami League and the percentage of votes, of course, there are, questions raised about the percentage ultimately declared, particularly the vote cast in the last hour of the scheduled time. But definitely, to my own estimate, at least 35% of the population has voted, though the official figures are 42 point something.
41.9.
41.9, that is 42. So this time this is little better, but still, since it is one party dominating everything without any effective opposition, and Sheikh Shahid Bhai very correctly raised the question of accountability. So I think that the way forward could be, making the standing committees, the standing committees on different ministries effective. Yeah, the committee system of the British model, that we also practice here. But this, if we could make effective standing committees and make them effective, then only some kind of accountability could be ensured. But otherwise, it will be very difficult. So lots of challenges, and also the figures that Shahidul Bhai has come up with are really quite I should say quite dangerous, because out of 300 parliamentarians, if you have only 26 politicians elected, then we can understand the situation that we are going to face. And particularly when 2/3 of the parliamentarians come from a particular business community whose motive is to profit and personal profit, then what kind of policies are going to come out from this parliament, for whom those policies will serve whom, people or themselves, the business community. Those questions are very vital questions that will definitely come up. So that is also another challenge, and one of my observation is that most of the cabinet ministers made lot of money during their last regime, and this is not my statement, this is the statement that they themselves gave in the what is that called?
Affidavit.
In their
during
affidavit.
the election.
In their affidavit during the election, their own declaration of their own properties. So when that is the situation, and those who have been dropped from the parliamentary election process, not given nomination, and those ministers that have been dropped, 30 of the ministers have been dropped, but 30 or 20, maybe 20.
28.
28 ministers
Exactly.
have been dropped. So, but in those who are there still in the cabinet, have been reinstated in the cabinet, many of them also fall into that category who has made a lot of money in the previous term, and they have been, instead of being punished, they have been they have been promoted. Yeah. So these are not good signs for the country. But again, I think that I hope that the kind of instability which was surrounding the election process, that has somewhat come down. Yeah, and the opposition BNP, with the support of Jamaat-e-Islam, they have been creating havoc in the past, and also in the run up to the election they have created some kind of havoc and taken the lives of innocent people. And if this election helps to shut them down, at least for a good period, that will help the country to prosper.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mesbah Kamal. Thank you very much, Sheikh Shahidul. It is a time to go for a short break. Viewers who are going for a short break, please keep watching. Welcome to the talk show Prof.Dr. Bangladesh, sponsored by Crown Cement. And we were having talks with two very brilliant personalities in Bangladesh, one Mr. Sheikh Shahidul, other being Professor Dr. Mesbah Kamal. Mr. Sheikh Shahidul, after the election, BNP is beating a drum that it is a moral victory for BNP not to join the election. What is your understanding about the so sayings?
I tell you one thing. The past history of Bangladesh, including those of Pakistan period, if you consider those into if we bring those things into our forefront, we have seen the party which has been successful in creating Bangladesh, Awami League, they never boycotted a single election, even when they know that they will not be winning. The elections of under Ayub Khan, the military dictator of Pakistan, and they contested every election. They said, election, by participating in the election, we are building a movement. This is very important for political parties to participate in elections because they are grassroots level people. They want that their party should be in election so that they can compete with the other political elements at the grassroots. By not participating in these type of elections, these major political party in our country, BNP, they are reducing themselves. They have now expelling people, and people are resigning from that party. Both are happening. Lot of people, they are resigning from the party, and lot of people, they have been, this party have expelled them. And the language in which the expulsion letter is said, they termed them and the people who contested in the election as Mirzafars and Beimans and other words they have used, which is most non-political words that a politician should use. Absence of BNP in the parliament, that will also dampen our prospect of a real opposition in the parliament. That damage they have caused, and they, by boycotting the election, I don't think they have gained anything. They have lost a lot of grounds on the political field. But my concern is their absence and the role our bureaucrats and police forces are playing. I think the absence of politics have given rise to this bureaucratic control of the government, which is, I am concerned. And I think the people in the cabinet, especially our Prime Minister, who is now one of the longest serving Prime Minister of the world, already 20 years she has served as a Prime Minister, and if she can complete this term, it will be 25 years. So she has a lot of experience. These bureaucrats, they should not be given upper hand. Politicians should formulate the policy, and bureaucrats should be there to implement it honestly and with dedication. But at the present days, what we see, sometimes even an officer in charge of a police station, they claim or they challenge the MP that we have made you MP. These type of things are not healthy for political environment of the country.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mesbah Kamal, you listen to what Mr. Sheikh Shahid uttered in a very positive mood and mood, and he is very much confident about his sayings. What are your responses?
Yeah, I totally agree with him what he is saying about this bureaucratic control of the government. In fact, in the previous term of the government, I mean the government of the government which was elected through the election of 2018. Yeah. I have also heard that in many places the bureaucrats wouldn't abide by the MPs or follow their directions, and would challenge them by saying that we have made you the MP, so better be quiet. So such audacity they showed, and this is because of the faulty nature of the election that was conducted. But I think that they won't get the scope to say that after this election was not conducted by or manipulated by the bureaucrats. But overall speaking, the police has become very powerful in this country, and to the extent that if it is not controlled, this country may turn into a police state. So and out of parliament space. So the politicians have to come forward and take their due role. And also, I totally agree with him when he says that BNP hasn't gained anything by boycotting the election. And no question of being a moral victory by seeing the turnout. As I said, that 42% officially had joined the election, has cast their vote. But even if it is a little less than that, it is at least 35-36%. So I'm referring to that, looking at the figures that was cast by 3 o'clock, and if similar percentage of vote would be cast in the last hour, that would make it 35-36%. So that number of voters turning out to vote, defying BNP, and that BNP has to take into account. And secondly, this was a vote where the outcome was visible very much. Everyone knew that Awami League would return to power, right? And there was hardly any contestant against the Awami League nominated MPs, particularly Awami League leaders. So in that case, when in an election the result is foreseeable and there is little contest, in some constituencies, say about 100 constituencies there was hard competition, but in most of them there was a little competition. So in that case, if there is no competition, the voters don't turn out. If I know the result that that particular person would win, why should I go and spend my time to vote? So that is the main reason why the people did not come. It's not because BNP wanted them not to go. So if BNP remains happy thinking that they called and people did not turn out, then they are living in fool's paradise. Yeah, and that won't help them. I would request the policymakers of BNP that they should read the writings on the wall. They should study the mind of the people. And they should look at what people want, and they should, as a political party, they should reflect the wishes of the people. They should consider and make it a political agenda to reflect the wellness, or rather the expectations of the people. So instead of if they are run from somewhere else which doesn't have any connection with the reality on the ground, then they are going to fade away. They have already faded away a lot, and they are going to fade away. And also, I mean, I'm not only telling this to BNP, I'm telling it to other parties apart from BNP. There are a number of political parties. So you name anyone who can claim to represent a good section of the population? Yeah, no one. But this is, so no viable political opposition in the country at this moment. This is one. And number 2 point is this: I think there should be some changes brought into the political system, electoral system, as well as we also may need some constitutional changes. Particularly, the Constitution says that this is a, there should be a unicameral legislature. That is one, problem. Then again, the Constitution says that this is a, unitary country. Yeah, obstructing on the way to making a number of provinces and decentralizing and devolution and resisting devolution efforts. And so these are some of the things, which should be changed, and the administration and the governance must be made multi-layered.
Thank you very much.
That will bring people's participation
Thank you very
into
much
the running
for
of the
explanation for the whole thing,
administration.
Mr. Sheikh Shahidul. We are about to end this talk show. And before that, you know very well that Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is very well experienced both in administration, in politics, and statecraft. What is your message, especially to the Prime Minister?
I will humbly say she should carry out reforms. Reforms in the political agenda, political side, in the political pattern of the country first. Second, reforms in the banking and economic sector. Thirdly, reforms in to bring social justice, because the disparity of income between the different section of people in our country is now being enlarged. And we should not allow this. The liberation war was fought not only on the basis of only 4 principles: nationalism, then democracy, secularism, and socialism. It was also in our proclamation of declaration. We tried to ensure, and it was incorporated in our constitution also, that social justice will be maintained. And the disparity between in income between different section of people, this is very much a matter of concern. I think our Prime Minister should address the challenges. She should bring massive reforms in the banking sector, so that the classified loans and that outstanding loans and the money laundered, those should be not be repeated, and those which has been laundered can be brought back to country. Secondly, social justice should be ensured, and the budget should be made in such a way so that the main portion of the budget goes to the downtrodden people. And lastly, there must be massive educational reforms also, because in higher education sector of Bangladesh, we have degraded ourselves in the eye of in comparison with other countries in the world.
And thank you very much, Mr. Sheikh Shahid.
My last comment,
please.
please. Yeah, I would like to request Honorable Prime Minister to introduce mixed economy in place of pursuing open market policies, because if she is honestly trying to help the the poor people and to ensure social justice, she cannot ensure that by depending on open market only. She should follow the policy that the father of the nation, Bangabandhu, followed, that is a mixed economy. So I would request her to follow the father of the nation to take the country forward.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Sheikh Shahidul, and thank you very much, Mr. Dr. Mesbah Kamal. Viewers, we are about to end this talk show, and before ending this talk show, I have to summarize what the two brilliant personalities in Bangladesh spoke. Both of them were very high about the future of Bangladesh. At the same time, they paid attention to the reality and necessity of the people and the dynamics. And they also feel the dilemmas, problems and opportunities before the government. And they are of the same mind. The government should take very strong measures to overcome the crisis in the field of economics and financial sector, including the banking sector, and especially Mr. Sheikh Shahidul, who was the former education minister and a successful minister indeed. He raised the question so that reforms in the field of education be performed properly. At the same time, Dr. Mesbah Kamal, he is in favor of mixed economy for the betterment of the country, and at this very moment to face the challenges of 21st century, including the challenges before the Awami League government. The challenges are very, very acute, and dilemmas, opportunities and other things are not so easy to tackle and to cope with. Therefore, it is our desire that Bangladesh should go ahead, because here is Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who is very much experienced in administration, in statecraft and in politics. And it is a desire of the two giant personalities here that Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina shall be in a position to overcome all these things. And thank you very much. We will meet you again in the next talk show. Thank you.